cheers to Jacob for pointing out the fact that there's little coconut floaties.
I love coconut floaties. They're my favorite.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jacob.
And this is Poe. And today we are reviewing a Belching Beaver beer. This is brewed in collaboration with the Deftones. Now, we did a review episode of Phantom Bride, which was the Deftones collaboration beer that they did about a year and a half ago. And that one was phenomenal. So then when I found out they came out with a new beer, I was like, okay, I have to try this. And this one's not an IPA, and so then it was like, all right, now we got to review this for the show. This is called Good Morning Beautiful. It's a brown ale with coconut, coffee, and maple syrup. It's 5.5%. Man, coconut, maple syrup, coffee, brown ale, you have my attention.
Oh, yes. I want to drink this right now.
Okay, so Jacob wants to drink it right now. Poe, sorry, you gotta sit back and watch. So Jacob and I are about to get started. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's have some beer. Well, guys, the beer is poured. Time to go in for the aroma.
All right. Ooh.
Mellow coffee notes. Yeah, I definitely filled mine up a little bit too much. Oh well.
Might have to get to the tasting sooner than not.
I know, right? I don't want to cheat though. We'll talk about this first, but you know, I don't get a lot of coconut. Maybe a little bit. But it's like raw coconut, maybe?
Yeah, it might be. For me, coconut's always kind of hard to pick out in the aroma. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not sensitive to it or whatever. I'll get it in the taste, but smelling it, I don't always pick it up right away.
Yeah.
I definitely get the coffee, but what I do like is I can smell that it's a brown ale. Like,
yeah.
It smells malty.
Yeah, which is nice, because when you have these kind of like dominant flavors coming in,
yeah, there's always that worry that they'll be the ones completely overpowering the beer part of the beer.
Yeah.
This seems like it's not going to be the case, so I'm pleasantly surprised and very curious now.
Well, and it's been a while for me since I've had a brown ale, so this aroma is very inviting. And Jacob and I were talking earlier about Belching Beaver, and you know, a lot of their beers are very sweet. It is really good for new beginner craft beer drinkers, you know, it's inviting. But obviously for people who have drank a lot of craft beer, maybe not so much. But I don't get a ton of sweetness off the nose. Now, we haven't actually tasted the flavor, but the nose is really good. I like it.
Yeah, well, me too.
I do wish that there was a little bit more...
like maple, maybe?
Like maple aroma. Maybe not the sweetness of the maple, but like that actual...
That kind of like caramelized,
yeah, the caramelized
sugar.
I'm getting like, especially from the brown ale, a lot of times you'll get like that sweet toffee, like caramel kind of aroma. I'm getting more biscuity off this. I'm getting like the toasted bread, and then a little bit of coffee, not a ton, which I actually am excited about. A lot of times I feel like coffee beer is just fuck ton of coffee. That's all you smell. This is a coffee beer. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie. I love that.
Well, I mean, if you're looking for a coffee beer, yeah, you want to smell like coffee. But you know what I'm saying?
No, I do. I just know that there are a lot of people that agree with you and that don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm over here like.
Don't overpower me with coffee.
I only want a little bit of beer with my coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, enough talking. Let's get drinking.
Oh yeah, I could.
Yeah.
barely just.
Cheers,
Oh, there
mate.
you go.
Oops. I'm thirsty.
Oh,
Well, there's the sweetness.
okay.
Oh, it's actually really good though.
Yeah, it is sweet. The sweetness is there, but it's not like flooding my mouth. Granted, you could probably hear I'm starting to be a little congested in my nostril. But I feel like
What the fuck was that?
I feel like my congestion is starting to leak through to my voice. I feel like it can still taste well though, so.
I'm trying to figure out what I think of this.
Alright, one thing to note, I'm pretty sure I can see coconut flakes in my beer.
No way.
And I like that. I think so, yeah. Isn't that what that is? Do you not have any? You have some too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's carbonation. I think that's coconut.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, little coconut floaties. It's almost like Space Race.
It's almost like a homebrew. I actually brewed a toasted coconut brown ale
Oh, right,
a
you did.
little
Yeah,
over a
that's
year
right.
ago, and that was one of my favorite beers I made. And I just think coconut goes so well with like the malt body of a brown ale. It's just it's so good. This is really sweet though. It's not like the raw like I'm getting raw coconut flavor, but I think maybe it's the maple syrup that's kind of making it that extra sweet flavor.
For sure, yeah.
You know what's tripping me out is I don't get a ton of coffee.
Yeah,
I feel like it kind of takes a backseat in the actual body of the beer.
Yeah, that is a little surprising just because, I mean, we mentioned before, so many coffee beers, coffee is dominant. It's
still there though.
It is
It is
there. It is there. It's a little roasty, but it's not, it's not as overpowering as it definitely easily could have been.
Yeah.
I would say I'm a fan. It's not the best combination of that, coconut, coffee, maple syrup, of which that's a growing number of beers that do that now. It's tasty. I could drink it.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah.
You know what this tells me is like this would be a great beer to bring to like a bottle share for people that are not like big craft beer drinkers. You know, not to say that this is only an amateur beer. Like, I am enjoying this beer.
Yeah.
But I mean, nowadays, and especially you guys that are really into the craft beer community, when you go to a bottle share, it's like sour, 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 New England IPA, barrel-aged stout, sour, barrel-aged stout, IPA. Like, that is it. Like, that's what you get at most bottle shares. This would be cool, like, for example, back during Christmas time, I had an ugly sweater party here at the house, and it doubled as a bottle share. And we had people that are like avid craft beer drinkers, people that are just getting into craft beer, and people who really haven't tried like legit craft beer before. This would be a party favorite, I think. This is a great brown ale to introduce to newcomers, and also anyone who enjoys brown ales. This is just a fun play on a really good classic beer style.
Yeah, I think what Jeff said is right. It's interesting, it's fun, you can taste the different adjuncts in it without it being too overwhelming or overpowering. I think what makes this a good recommendation to go to something like share with friends who aren't big craft beer drinkers is because it's got some adjuncts that are really tasty, can be expensive, but it's in a format and price point that isn't like horribly outrageous, and it's not too hard to get. Granted, I don't think Belching Beaver has too huge of a distribution outside of California. They're a San Diego-based brewery. They have a couple locations, but I don't know how much they really like distribute nationwide. So outside of California, this might be kind of hard for you to get. But if you're watching this and you're inside California, this should be relatively easy for you to pick
Yeah.
up and be able to share with your friends.
Yeah, you can go to any major like
Yeah.
beer distributor, like a Bevmo or Total Wine. They're gonna have this in Southern California.
Yeah.
I got this at Mr. K's, $7.99. It honestly was a beer that I wasn't sure I wanted to try, but then it was there and it called to me. Something about that adorable little beaver and his cute little beanie, and he's got like the little Phantom Bride emblem on it. I mean, it just says like, get drunk, Jeff, get drunk. So yeah, dude, really good beer. So let's go ahead and get into the scoring. I'll start with Aroma. Aroma, like I said, I'm getting the hints of a brown ale, which I like. You know, we were really concerned that the flavors that were put into this beer were going to be overpowering, and they weren't. Great coffee aroma. I would have liked a little bit of maple on the nose. Coconut was absent, but I don't really expect coconut. Like you said, you don't really expect the coconut aroma. Man, I'm going to give it a 9. It got me excited. I wanted to drink it, so hell yeah, I'll give it a 9. How about you?
I think I'm going to go with 8. It was solid, but like you said, I kind of was hoping to pick up a little bit more on the adjuncts. I don't really know in what direction, but just something a little bit more. So 8, still solid though.
Yeah. All right. So flavor-wise, I'll go ahead and score again. Flavor-wise, I'm gonna give it. Man, I don't know. Hold on.
Yeah, this is kind of a hard one.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. It's actually really, really good. I mean, this is something that I would not be upset to drink. This is something where if I walked into a bar and they had this on tap, I actually would really love to try this. It's a nice change of pace from the whole IPA game that we've been doing.
For sure.
I think it's an actually really well done brown ale. And, you know, they showcase some really interesting flavors. Maple syrup, coffee, coconut. And they did a good job of not overpowering the beer. Those flavors didn't take away from the beer, it added to it, which is a sign of good craftsmanship to me. It's not my favorite beer. There are definitely some things that I would like to be tweaked, but still a really good beer. And like I said, I mean, this is something that a lot of anyone from like newbie craft beer drinker to super experienced craft beer drinker, I feel like anyone could try this and just be like, yeah, that is a good brown ale. So yeah, I'll give it an 8.5.
I think I'm going to give it an 8, and I kind of feel guilty. The reason being...
You're a bad person, Jacob.
The reason being is there's part of my brain that definitely wishes it was thicker. So probably my brain is like, oh, that's not a stout. And I feel, that's what I'm saying, I feel guilty just like as someone who claims to be an experienced beer drinker, whatever the hell that means. There's so many other styles than just stout. You know, just because something has coffee.
IPA, sour, stout.
Yeah. So as someone who, those are basically big go-tos for me, I do feel guilty that that's kind of what I go to is IPA, sours, and stouts. And my brain is like, oh, I wish it was a bit thicker in the mouthfeel. But it's like, it's a 5% brown ale. Why should it be? It shouldn't, is the answer. So that's why I feel guilty. But nevertheless, I don't know. I mean, you can't really change what your preferences are. So
I got a question for you on that end.
all right.
What if they made this an Imperial Brown Ale?
I was thinking about that, and that still made me feel guilty because it's nice to have something flavorful but also at 5%. Meaning,
yeah, drinkability
if you wanted
factor.
to drink the whole 22 ounces, I mean, you might feel a little bloated, but you could, and you wouldn't be like irresponsibly drunk from doing that.
Irresponsibly drunk.
There's a range of drunk and irresponsible.
You would not be standing up on the table taking your top off.
Yeah, you know, if this was a bourbon barrel stout, with the same adjuncts in a 22-ounce format, you'd be irresponsibly drunk if you drank the whole thing. So I can't really knock this beer for being what it is, a sessionable beer with adjuncts. I do not want to say anything bad about that because I feel like I'll be a horrible person.
It's a preference, right? It's preference, rating the beer for what it is.
I've revealed too much of myself. I'm going to stop talking now.
It's all good. All right, so let's get into would we ever buy this beer again?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
I'll say yes.
Yes?
Now I can shut up. Yeah.
And that's all he says, I guess, yes. I will say yes, I would buy this beer again as well. It's one of those beers, man. It's one of those beers, this is very much reminiscent of Phantom Bride. If I want to get somebody into a really delicious IPA, Phantom Bride was awesome. Good Morning Beautiful is a fantastic brown ale. And those little adjuncts that they add into this, you know, the coffee, the coconut, the maple, they're appealing. I mean, you read that and you're like, ooh, that sounds fun, right? I mean, actually, I told Jacob about this beer and he was reading what was in it and he's like, oh, that sounds like a fun beer. And it is a fun beer. It's really enjoyable. This is probably not something that I would fill my fridge with. Like, well, my fridge is already full with a ridiculous amount of IPAs.
Oh, what a surprise.
Bummer. Not really. But, you know, if I was going to a party, like a BYOB party, or if I was hosting some friends that maybe weren't big craft beer drinkers and I kind of wanted to ease them into it, I feel like this is definitely a beer I want on the table. And again, I'm going to point out the price point of this. I mean, I got this for $7.99. That's a fantastic price point. If you can get your hands on this and you want to try it, try it. If you want to share it with friends who maybe don't like craft beer too much, have them try it. I think they'll dig it. And also, cheers to Jacob for pointing out the fact that there's little coconut floaties.
I love coconut floaties. They're my favorite.
Honestly, it reminds me of my homebrew because that was the worst bottling experience of my life. And all you homebrewers out there know what's up. Coconut shavings suck. They suck. Especially when you're bottling, because that little bottling wand, the little coconut shavings get stuck in there. I had to clean that shit out like 100 times. It was a nightmare. But yeah, holy crap. Yeah, good beer. I'm sorry. I talk too much. Yeah, I'd buy it again. So, anyways, that's going to do it for this review. Yep. Good Morning Beautiful from Belching Beaver in collaboration with the Deftones. They're a band, in case you didn't know.
No way.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you give us a thumbs up. Helps us in the rankings. Share with your friends. If they're new to craft beer, this is a great episode to share with them. This is a great beer for them to try. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you tried this beer, let us know, did we hit the nail on the head? Were we on? Were we off? Do you have other thoughts to share? Please let us know. And if there's a beer that you think that we should try, also let us know in the comments below. Until next time, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you again on Let's Have Some Beer.